I think
skills
that's
help.
so powerful a statement that you've made, Shamita. I think you don't all the time need to be super deep, but you need to know enough to be able to supervise it,
Yes.
to be able to ask the right question.
Yes.
You don't.
Unless you are giving them skills that they don't have here, they are not going to think you're indispensable.
So definitely one is your communication skills, and not just written, because that can ChatGPT will do it for you guys. But being able to communicate effectively what you're thinking, your ideas, because if you can't do that, I think that's generally required everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you can't do that in marketing, that's like the number one core skill.
Yeah.
So the genuinity in your effort kind of really stands out, right? And maybe comes because you are more experienced and you've understood what it really takes. And I think we all should learn from her. But tell us a little bit more about your role now. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? What's the role called?
Yeah.
See, everywhere you are going and you are putting in the work, I think if you're genuine, you will make great connects. So be very sure of what skills are you there to supply to the market. And if those skills are in short course, that's the only way to get an opportunity.
I think in comparison to India, like my workload here is definitely lesser, but it's very focused.
Right, and if you've come to this point so far, make sure that you kind of note it down. And we're talking about marketing and communication right now, but this is something that should be applied in every domain.
If you are looking to study abroad, then watch this full video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated.
Fantastic to understand that how you use your ambassadorship at Harriet Watt to turn it into part-time or an internship at Imperial College, and then eventually turn that into a full-time job, right? So, and some things which are very important, I think, Shamita, for I think everyone to understand is using your faculty. I think is very critical and very helpful in that sense. I think also very important is that how you, wherever you are putting in the work selflessly. Right, and trying to network with people, even like this conversation, right? I don't know, someday, I hope I can be of some help to you, but also trying to just reach out to everybody out there. Maybe they're going to watch and then somebody says, okay, oh, Shamita is doing this, connect with me, and trying to connect with you. So I think doing stuff selflessly, trying to just be out there is very, very powerful, and genuinely networking. And when you mentioned that, I had 200 connects and I made it to 500. It's not that I made it to 5,000, but those 300 added were like real, genuine people who knew you, who if you message them, would respond back. And I think the genuinity in your effort kind of really stands out, right? And maybe comes because you are more experienced and you've understood what it really takes. And I think we all should learn from her. But tell us a little bit more about your role now. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? What's the role called?
Yeah, so I joined the Imperial Business School as a senior digital communications officer, where they're actually shaping how their marketing content strategy is built and how they interact with external stakeholders. And that really means so the business school has a lot of academics who want to be able to talk to everyday people who, like you and me, may not understand the amazing research they've come up with. So what I'm trying to help them do is sort of translate that for an everyday audience, and at the same time also pitching in with ideas like how they can optimize maybe the ways to reach that audience, maybe write LinkedIn articles, or just be more available and be more vocal about that research. So really tying in their different individual efforts and looking at creating.
So that would mean that you need to read a lot about their research as well, right?
Yes. So it's a lot of processing. I wouldn't say that I always understand all of it, but it's a great team and it's really focused on both internal and external comms.
So your role is to define the messaging, or do create videos around it, designs around it? What exactly?
So I feel it is a mix of all of those things. So we right from looking at announcing those pieces of research to looking at ways in which we can maybe package it later for different audiences. So that may involve packaging it in a carousel or a video, just or as simple as really putting it in a newsletter that we already circulate to our audiences. It's a lot of internal, and it's a mix of internal and external audience comms that I do. And
so guys, when you're getting content from Imperial College London, you know who to think about and who to appreciate, because it's fantastic. And I'm going to try and put some links in the video to some of the work that Shamita has also done, just to understand what exactly she's doing.
Actually, at the last department, the part-time role that I was working on, they actually gave me opportunity to really run with the project and shape content however I felt was useful for people. So I did end up producing a podcast with the startup founders. It has 5 episodes, and just because you mentioned a link, I'm going to plug it in. Also, I also was able to do a series of video video features on each of those startups, which really like helps people understand like what goes on inside, how are they building that
And these were
innovation.
founders from Imperial College?
Some of them are alumni, other startup CEOs who have joined the accelerator that I was supporting and helping like with their messaging.
Isn't that a great way to network?
Yes,
you're like talking to
absolutely.
like decision makers who are hiring for their companies.
Yes.
And these are growing startups, so they need more people. And see, everywhere you are going and you are putting in the work, I think if you're genuine, you will make great connects. So
I definitely feel like just to like quickly mention that I only work with a business school now, so I'm not, but I'm still like able to have the opportunity to look at like different comms teams within Imperial College London who make all of that content a reality. So for me to be able to have that insight first is helping me build like what do I want to take from here. I want to continue working at Imperial, but I want to see how that content is shaped for the outside world. So like they've done like a few launches. They've recently launched the Imperial Global Hub in Bangalore. So like really having like that kind of a connect and thinking about okay, like how can I tap into that?
Right.
And I had like a journalism network in India. So trying to tell them that I can also support you with like media queries or PR requests back home because there might be an income journalist who's interested in going to Bengaluru and doing a feature. So it's really like tying all the skills that I already had and whatever I'm learning here to constantly show that I know a lot of immigrants like really, and especially people of color like really want to put themselves out there and really prove all the time. And I wish that's not the case.
Yeah.
But the economy, like to your earlier question, I definitely feel like the job market is in a very big flux. Unless you are giving them skills that they don't have here, they are not going to think you're indispensable. So you have to really make a
guys, I
little
think
extra effort.
you need to make that extra effort. You need to be very sure of what skills are you there to supply to the market. And if those skills are in short course, that's the only way to get an opportunity, because otherwise you are dispensable and they'll hire locally. So I think first of all, really congratulations, Shamita. And I think not many students are getting this outcome. One thing in my research I've been understanding and trying to find is, a lot of students are coming for marketing, right? I'm also telling them to try and go into marketing analytics, go try and build deeper skills in marketing and AI, because a lot of changes are happening. And I think those are some of the areas where I see a lot of job postings coming up. I also see that there are more job postings for marketing than actually for as a business analyst. When we say that, okay, go for, in India, I think it's the mindset is go for data analytics, business analytics, or computer science, right? But the number of openings that we see in marketing are far greater, like 2 to 3 times more, be it LinkedIn or be it Indeed. Is that the reality? Do you feel that it is easier, or is marketing a good domain to be in?
Yes, I definitely feel like what slowly, at least from the inside, what I slowly see, like a lot of companies definitely want to push themselves out there more. I think in comparison to India, like my workload here is definitely lesser, but it's very focused.
Right.
So once I'm working on one project, that's the only project I'm helping deliver, and it's like a very strategic.
So guys, let's take a small pause and let me tell you that I counsel hundreds of students looking to study abroad every month. And I am here to help you guys, not just with understanding your profile, which country or university is the best one for you, but help you through the admission process. And me and my team will get you your visa on time. And if you want a one-on-one counseling session with me, please go into the description. There is a link to my Calendly and you can book a one-on-one slot with me. And let's get back to our video now.
Way like that I interact with different touch points and stakeholders for that project. So they definitely are focusing on improving their visibility. So that includes marketing and comms that think about like
so marketing and communication as a whole is lucrative.
Yes, it's like lucrative, but definitely if you offer if you have like an additional skill set in data
what are the
analytics.
top 5 skills
that
one should have when they're planning, they're saying, okay, I want to build a career in marketing and comms?
I definitely feel like they need like a bit of great comms ability. So not just great writing, but the ability to be able to talk to different people and shape content and comms for different audiences.
So definitely one is your communication skills, and not just written, because that ChatGPT will do it for you guys. But being able to communicate effectively what you're thinking, your ideas, because if you can't do that, and I think that's generally required everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you can't do that in marketing, that's like the number one core skill.
Yeah.
So what else?
I think definitely not just, I wouldn't say SEO, I think that is a skill that is almost running dead, and it's sort of reaching fag end of like glory, but I feel like really looking at how you optimize content for different platforms, and that also includes like the third sort of skill, that is like if you know a little bit of graphic design or video production, they just like, okay, if we were to make like a feature film on Imperial and saying like different amazing things about a new launch, you would be able to actually oversee something like that. And if you have like an additional
I think
skills,
that's
helpful.
so powerful a statement that you've made. Shamit. I think you don't all the time need to be super deep, but you need to know enough to be able to supervise it, to be able to ask the right question.
Yes.
You don't need to know the nitty-gritty of pushing the buttons, but as long as you can supervise that team. So I think the two things that you mentioned is, one, how do you build content for different platforms? It's not like I'm there only for Instagram, but I can do YouTube, I can do Reddit, I can do Twitter, I can do websites. So any kind of platform, and there are like hundreds of platforms these days where contents are published. Like how do you make a newsletter? You should have an idea of multiple platforms. And then what you mentioned, know certain technical skill of graphic design, video editing, And today I think with the AI world, and I try to delve a lot into these video editing models. I think it's so much easier, right? What it used to be 2 years ago. So if you guys are looking at getting into marketing, I think those 3 skills you must have. What else?
I think definitely also like really listening to your audiences. So definitely like data analytics and like being insight driven. Like here companies definitely want to make decisions where they have proof that okay, this is working. If you suggest like, oh, maybe it'll be great if you do like Instagram videos or like do posts on LinkedIn, they won't really invest in it unless they have points of proof. So like really looking at branding as an opportunity. So I feel like a little bit of knowledge of what brands are really making it that final connect, because you're interacting with different kinds of audiences. When you're especially for a business school audience, maybe you have like different kinds of audience who are younger, who want to study here, but also audiences who want to teach here, audiences who want to interact with the research that is being produced. So really being able to look at that analytics and making decisions for that content strategy.
So basically you're saying you need to be able to know what data to look, where to look for data, and how to read that data. And then of course make logical insights out of it and make your recommendations which are data backed. Right? And I think that's a very core skill anywhere where you want to be part of decision making and not just plain execution. Being able to do that, you don't need to be essentially very strong in mathematics.
Yes.
Right? So people get scared that my maths weak and I'm not so good with numbers. Not essentially required.
A simple like day-to-day example would be like when I joined this place, just like looking at what existing newsletter stats were and looking at what can be changed like design wise to improve that engagement. Do we send our newsletter to fewer people but make sure that our click rates and open rates are better, or do we continue broadcasting to more audiences and just want to do that? So I think like the latter would include and involve just like a broader approach, but my former approach was just to like ensure that we get more tangible action points, and that really comes down to like stakeholder engagement and stakeholder management, like looking at, so trying to blend in a lot of the skills that my MSc here did offer me, but also like being able to say, okay, I'm not living under a rock, I'm paying attention to like everyday trends, I'm putting myself out there.
Just saying things out, like shooting out the thin air, but I'm reading, I'm understanding, I'm visualizing what's happening in the world, what others are doing, what other universities are doing, trying to understand that and back it your recommendations with that. And I think so it's kind of like point A and 4.1 and 4.2, which is one, being data driven, and 2, being aware of what's happening in your industry, right? And it's kind of using both the qualitative and the quantitative things to back your recommendations and sort of say that why you are doing what. That's, I think, like no brainer. You should do it. Now in this, if you're going to be watching this video till the end, then you're going to get these insights, right? And if you've come to this point so far, make sure that you kind of note it down, and we're talking about marketing and communication right now, but this is something that should be applied in every domain. Anything else that comes to your mind?
I definitely feel like to really target the right kind of roles, have like a deeper think on what is it that you see yourself doing in like 3 to 5 years consistently, because I know like a lot of people might jump from like job to job but like are not thinking about like how are you surviving in that career graph. So like really thinking about how those building blocks are adding to each other, as opposed to looking for, I just need another role for like filling this gap. I know like there are going to be like so many other factors that are going to like affect this decision. but like really looking at how those building blocks add up to your larger career goal. You might be very ambitious, or you might be like, okay, I don't actually want to see myself as a manager, but I still want to grow in this space to be known for, like, I don't know, impact communications, which is something that I want to do. Or you want to build like your own platform in the future, or you want to go full time into content creation. Ever is it whatever that goal, constantly reiterating that to your team sort of helps you have that transparent relationship at work. And that is not like a skill that anybody teaches you.
Yeah.
That's something you're just thrown in the deep end, and you have to have a very transparent relationship with your managers here. And I feel like here in the UK, like, no offense to Indian managers, but I feel like you have the opportunity and space to do that, because they will check in with you every week, but every 3 months or every 6 months we have like longer conversations of how do you see yourself learning from this role, or is there any other skill that you want. So there are like tons of skills that they offer staff. Again, like leading on to the company to look at your professional development is something that if you're here for a short time, definitely do that, because it will only top up whatever you've learned in your masters. And they really they of course encourage a lot of women in leadership. They are definitely pushing a lot of inclusion in different aspects. Whether you have a disability or if you're on this neuro inclusion spectrum, they will definitely make an extra effort to turn different events to you. But at the same time, you can also bank onto other aspects of like just reflecting on your career with your manager and having like a very straight up conversation, and be unafraid to do that. Like I have done that with both my previous line managers, and it turned out pretty well because they were able to guide me and support me into
So I think
landing
what you're
this
saying
role.
again is like be open for feedback, ask for feedback, use that for constructively, shaping your journey in that corporate world.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, and kind of taking that step back. That okay, am I doing this for the right reason? Headed in the right direction? Is that what I want to do? I think just having that clarity where you want to go is step number one, where I believe a lot of people lack. And I think best way is to have friends like Shamita and other students who are already out there, sort of living the life that you wish to, at least think you want to, and then having those conversations will enable you like, okay, that I want to be her in 3 years from now, and then sort of have a goal, and then whichever scenario, you might not be in Imperial College London, but you might be in some company, some different kind of job profile, but then using the same kind of ideas, right? Then you need to be talking to your manager, how do I get to that position? Because every company will have a different context, different pathways. Fantastic, Shamita, and thank you for this. I think so valuable. I think everyone who's going to be watching, this is my first interview here in UK, and I'm already so excited by this that I think this is something that I should be telling to all of you, and this is my way of doing so through our YouTube channel. And
So if you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you all in the next video.